Hey, 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 good morning. Might be afternoon or evening when you're watching this. I have an important message to share with you and wish I could be there in person, but I cannot. My name is Lisa Kessler-Peters. I am the author of Why I Tried to Die, a story of trauma, resiliency, and restoration. I also am an advocate and professional in the reentry and recovery from substance use disorder field. I'm so excited to share with you a topic that most people don't want to talk about. I am a person that has been in solitary confinement. I am a person that has been in prison. And when you think of somebody that has been in prison, you don't typically think of me. But I am a person that goes to prison. People look like me that go to prison. And people in prison aren't monsters. They're not evil. And they just have made some bad choices and gotten themselves in situations that they couldn't get themselves out of. And not to go too far down that, but we need restorative practices instead of punitive practices. So, to speak about solitary confinement, it is a prison inside of a prison. When you are sentenced to time in prison or while you're waiting for trial, you being incarcerated is your punishment. However, solitary confinement is something that is used to cause further punitive consequences to an individual, and it is torturous. Upon my assessment at intake, I was deemed to be suicidal, which I was. I was suicidal prior to being arrested. And instead of speaking to anybody or getting any type of treatment, I was put into what is known as a strip cell, which is solitary confinement, where they remove everything, including my glasses, my shoes, all of my, I had nothing. I didn't have a toothbrush, toothpaste, toilet paper. Literally, I had nothing other than a tan uniform and a wool blanket, and then a toilet, sink, and bunk bed. That is all that was in the cell with me. And so I am a person that is already suicidal. I am not wanting to live. And then I'm put into this cell where the light is kept on 24/7. I was denied my medication that I am prescribed for my mental health diagnosis, and not spoken to until the way that they work this is that you have to stay in this cell with the lights on 24/7 until you are deemed no longer suicidal. So basically, I had to pretend to be mentally okay in order to get out of this cell. The problem is when you are already lacking hope and already lacking identity and worth and value, when you are treated like a worse than an animal, because an animal shouldn't even be treated like this, where you're put into a cell, and nobody speaks to you, you're not given any type of treatment. They know that you want to commit suicide, and when you're crying, you're told to shut up. It further diminishes your value and your ability to think that you can come out of that. So I basically had to pretend to be okay in order to get out of solitary confinement. I further, during my incarceration, was threatened with solitary confinement if I wouldn't provide sexual favors for a correctional officer. And so you might be thinking that solitary confinement, also known as restrictive housing unit, they changed the verbiage of it so that it didn't sound so punitive and torturous. That it is used for violent offenders who are dangerous to other people. Most of the time, it is used as a catch all if you don't do what I want you to do, or if I don't want to deal with you. Or I've seen people that had medical issues that all of a sudden disappeared, and I thought maybe they went to the hospital or to get medical treatment, but instead were put into solitary confinement. These are the types of situations that end somebody up in solitary confinement. Speaking up for your rights, asking to advocate for yourself. All of these types of things can be treated with solitary confinement. So why should you care if you may be one of those people that thinks out of sight, out of mind, you did the crime, you do the time type of thing. The thing is, 95% of people that go to prison come home from prison. So if somebody goes into prison and comes out more psychologically damaged and is not able to become part of society because of that damage done, they are going to be a bigger hindrance and a bigger danger to society. To this day, I cannot go into elevators. I have to use the stairs. I don't like any rooms, doors being shut. The sound of certain clanking sounds, still to this day, 7 years later, still causes me this physiological reaction where I feel like I'm about to be closed in and not be able to get out. And so basic human dignity says that a person has value regardless. And when you put somebody inside of a cage, not only for a few days, but for weeks or months or years, you are diminishing the basic human instincts for a person to be in community with other people and to have their basic needs met. So there are lots of ways for us to rehabilitate people that don't need solitary confinement at all. And I ask that you consider to use these instead and to banish solitary confinement altogether, or at least minimize it to no longer than 15 days at a time. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.